see now.
Really? Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This is a build-up into the summit that is coming up on the 24th and the 25th of May. And we have Brother Day who will be speaking on leadership. We have Dr. Ezine who will be speaking on mindset. We have Coach Tombra who will be speaking on identity. And the reason why I brought these three together is because you need, like I said earlier on, you need to hone your skills in identity. You need to make sure that you have a laser, you go deep into your identity, understand your beliefs, your mindset before you can emerge a great leader. And that's why we're here to talk about. So I'm going to ask them questions. And if at all I don't mention any question that is burning in your heart, you can drop the question in that section, question section there, and I would pick it up from there. Tomra is hosting us. I had technical issues with my IG page. I had to restart, but whatever happens, we move. All right. Are you okay, Dr. Ezine? All right. Okay. We just wanted to know everyone's good. Okay. So yes, what is mindset?
Sorry, let me just
we're starting with that. What's mindset?
Please, can you mute when you're not speaking? I think maybe Tombra might be the one where some feedback's coming from. So when you're not speaking, please mute.
Okay.
Meanwhile, can you talk about the fabulousness of the ladies on your screen? Feel free to put it in the chat.
Oh my God, you're looking so beautiful.
When somebody makes up for all of you, I see you, Sheila. I see you, Shay, for me. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
We appreciate the beauty. You look so good. So good. Up and down. Dr. E, you look so good. Natural beauty. Oh my God, yes, all shades of beauty. You see?
All my darling.
Okay, so are we ready? What is mindset? What is leadership? And who is a leader? What is identity? Let's understand. Let's get the basics, the understanding of what these three things are.
Basically, when you call identity, you're calling Tombra. So, see, girl.
Yes. So, but then we can start with you. What is leadership? I understand. That's why, I mean, you would explain what leadership is.
Yeah,
and then you explain what mindset
and that identity is key to all of it.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but Tombra.
Yes. So, thank you so much. Simply put, identity is a core and foundational piece of who you are. It is the sum total of how you perceive yourself, right? It is the sum total of your self-construct. I say it is the sum total of your self-construct. It includes how, and when I talk about identity, I'm talking about it first from a self perspective, so how we humans identify, right? So it includes the perception of who you are, the stories that you've told yourself based on your past experiences, which have then evolved into a belief of yourself in your current present reality. And then, unfortunately for some, if it's a distorted view, it then projects into your future. So if you don't understand who you are from the foundational perspective, the chances that it just evolves into this thing that just then everything else that you're building upon yourself just becomes like it's like you're building on sandy ground. So, but your identity as a whole is who you are, who you have been created to be from God's perspective, the thoughts that He had, the endowments that He has given you, just the plans that He had for you. So from an identity perspective, I always teach it as a number of layers that make up your identity. There is a divine part of you, which is your divine identity, and that is our God-like nature. There is a part of you that is our purpose, which is the thing that you were created on earth to do. The part of you that is a reflection of your strengths and your endowments, the gifts and the talents and the things that come naturally to you. There's a part of you that is now encapsulates this mindset component, which is what are your beliefs and your values and all of that. And then there's a part of us, which is how we identify when we show up in the world. So if you put all of that together, it makes this massive sandwich of our identity. But how we perceive ourselves also imports into this definition of self. So it's like our definition of self. So if you don't really get it, if one of those layers in that sandwich is rotten or not fully formed or not fully understood, basically we have a warped understanding. It culminates into this warped understanding of self, which then impacts everything: mindset, leadership, every other thing, right? So that was the kind of like a long
Yes.
answer, but that's it.
Long but good. Thank you so much for explaining. I understand that different layers to identity. And of course, it just ties back to the fact that you come from a source. And if you don't understand that part, then your identity, your foundation is
Yes,
faulty.
exactly.
Thank you, Tombra. Thank you. All right, mindset. What is mindset? We hear that word. What exactly is it?
Thank you, Chidimara, and thank you to everyone who is joining on this call, my beautiful Gladzy and my beautiful, beautiful sisters. All right, thank you, Tombra, for that. Tombra, I just love you. But anyway, let's go deep into, she knows why I said that. Let's go deep into
Love you too,
mindset,
baby.
right? So what mindset? Mindset basically, in a layman's language, is simply the way your mind has been set. And if you are into the building or the constructing industry, or if you've ever watched anybody build a house, I'm sure that you've seen how they, put down the pillars, how they pour concrete into the pillars. You know very well that they can actually put maybe like wood surfaces, planks, just so they can make the pillar. And then when they put in the concrete, if you take out that wood 5 minutes after, everything will come tumbling over, right? If you even take it maybe 30 minutes after, it may happen. If you take it 1 hour later, even 1 day later, you can actually hit it down. But if you leave it there, usually they will leave it there, then allow rain to fall, right? Or they'll actually pour water on it so that it solidifies. And when that is done, they will now say in Nigerian parlance, it don't set.
You don't say.
In Nigerian parlance, it don't set, meaning that you would need a bulldozer to actually pull down that pillar. And interestingly, that pillar is actually holding certain dimensions of the house, such that if they want to take down the house, they don't need to go hitting the roof and all that. They just hit 1, 2, 3 pillars and everything comes crumbling down. So that basically explains how your mindset is. Your mindset is the pillar that holds every other expression of your life, whether it be motherhood, whether it be leadership, whether it be entrepreneur, whether it's your spirit, whatever it is. Your mindset are those pillars. And if I want to take you down, if I were maybe a Jack Bauer or which are all those people, and they sent you an assignment, say, take this lady down. All I need to do, I don't need to do too much. I just need to hit those pillars, hit them one by one, and then you just come tumbling down. So basically, mindset is how you have been conditioned, how your parents, significant others have been putting one mold, one basket of concrete over and over the pillars of your life for the course of 20 years, 25 years, 30, 40, depending on how old that you are. Depending on how long, right, you engage with this mindset will determine how solidified those mindsets are. So your mindsets are gotten from your experiences, how you were growing up, what you heard, what you saw, what you experienced is a sum total of how your mind is set. And once your mind is set, it would determine for you without negotiation or permission how you're going to interpret the meaning of everything you see in life, basically. So the reason why you are going to react a different way to when your boss talks to you, you may be, some of you here may be in organizations, and a boss speaks to 2 people about the same thing. One person reacts differently, another person reacts differently. The reason is simple, equals to mindset. The reason is also the same reason why somebody will say, I succeeded in this marriage and I didn't succeed in this marriage. It's still equal, it's still mindset. That's the mindset is also responsible for the mistakes and the low places you were yesterday And today you're like, oh, who was that girl? I'm doing well. The difference is mindset. So mindset is the sum total of your experiences, your belief, your engagement, and everything that just sums you up. And that's why I love Tumbra so much, because I can't really talk about mindset without talking about identity. And she's talking about identity without talking about mindset. So if you need to fix your life, please contact Tumbra and put two of us in one call. Your life will never be the same again.
Your life will never be the same.
Oh my God, that's so good. I love the analogy of the pillar. Yeah.
And this is
I
just
mean,
a
hitting
glimpse
it
of what
and
you
everything
all
goes
will be
from
enjoying at the summit. So keep that top of your mind.
That's right. That's right. You're going to hear this and more at the summit. Just look at that. Imagine someone thinking, if, like you talked about experiences, somebody who has the experience of divorce, has seen divorce, maybe their aunt has divorced, you will go into life with that mindset, into marriage with that mindset. And definitely it will not be a big deal to you. But somebody who has not even seen that, has come from a loving background, will definitely not even entertain that thought when it comes into their minds. That's so beautiful. Thank you for that, Dr. E. Day, take it off. Take it off.
Okay, hey
Leadership.
people. Leadership. Leadership. There are many definitions, but the simplest and most practical is that leadership is influence. And what is influence? It is the ability to superimpose or to convince or to persuade someone else or an organization, a society, a community to follow a path that you determine to either be good or, even bad. Because three major qualities I'll tell you about leadership. Number one, it is amoral. Many times people think that leadership, this is a good quality, it is a good competency. It depends on your agenda. One of the things we look at in leadership, what do we look at? We look at impact. That is how deeply you're able to affect people. And with that change that you desire, right? We look at the number of people you're able to garner in that movement. And we start to talk about things like that. But guess what? What if it's not the right thing that you're garnering people towards? So that's the first one, amoral. You look at someone like Hitler, you look at someone like Mandela, and both of these people changed the world. You cannot not know that someone like that was born. Do you understand? You cannot know. They've changed the course of history, and they both did it through leadership. But leadership in what? And for me, that is one of the reasons I teach on leadership, because if you're able to, number one, know your identity, your true identity, not just an identity that was given to you or an identity that you collect from the environment, but an identity that is divine and found in God. If you're able to renew your mind to align with that identity and to align with God, because that way you're able to impact your society for good, then leadership is the competence that you need to deliver that purpose, that destiny, that impact, that vision to a world that so desperately needs it, but will never get it without leadership. So if identity is the gift and mindset is like the fuel, the vehicle is leadership. And that's something you should think of. And what is the communication of leadership? It's confidence. Like, it cannot be separated. Confidence is these three things aligning. You knowing your identity beyond a shadow of doubt and working your mind to align with it so that you can effectively lead both yourself and the people. So, yeah. And we'll talk more about leadership, but the one thing you want to know is that it's learnable. You don't need to be born with it. All of these things, identity, that's why Tomba teaches. Mindset is something you can renew. Even though you don't sit, there's still a way. We can break it. If people can mine rocks for gems inside a rock, not inside the soil, a rock, you can reset your mind and you can lead people.
I love that, brother.
Yes. We can shatter the pillar and rebuild it again. Thank you so much, Brother. That's so good. I love that.
Can I just
Yeah, go ahead.
dovetail on that?
Sure, yeah,
What's
jump
really
in.
interesting as you're speaking, and you're talking about the fact that leadership is a competence that you can learn, like you can acquire. I was thinking about how, in the truest sense, who you are has been founded. You've been created by God. We've been created in His image, after His likeness. We were given a divine purpose. We were given gifts to propagate the purposes of God, and then we come into this world, and that's where mindset now happens, because we come and beliefs and all of that is all dumped on us, and then we are then caught in this web of trying to sift between what is true, what is false, is this really me or is this not? And then we have all the other things that then we then become, as in our case, what's unique about us, all of us here, we're women, we're wives, all of these things, and then it's like trying to just, who am I really, then becomes the question. Until you then go inside the core of it, what I just wanted to highlight is the fact that our identity, because we are created beings, we have been created by God, and God had this idea of who He wanted us to be in His mind before sending us here on earth. And the fact that we are here is proof that we were worthy to be here, and there's a unique assignment that we have been sent on. But if you think about that point you just made here, Brother, about how you can learn leadership, it's also a similar point I want to make around how you can align with that your divine identity when you start to uncover it. An example is from the Bible, when the Bible talks about Moses and how he went and he had the burning bush experience. He had confronted the Egyptian. He traveled and he ran away to Midian. He had the burning bush experience, and then God confronted him and said, "This is who you are. This is what you're meant to do. This is your divine assignment. At that point where he had this encounter with God, wasn't the time where God was defining who He was as a deliverer. It had been set in stone from the foundations of the earth. Why? Because Moses has no other, friends or contemporaries that are of the same heritage as him, who are Israelites. Why? Because all the boys were all killed. So he had a unique assignment that was already curated, right? So all that he needed to do was fall in line. So I often say that, look, this identity doesn't change. It is the knowledge of this identity, the awareness that you come into, that allows you fall in line with it, right? So I just wanted to just throw that in there, and yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. When you said it is the knowledge, my mind was screaming, it is the awareness. Once you're aware that there's an identity,
yes,
you would have to, then you would go for it.
When Moses was a prince in Egypt, right? And it is that curiosity about there being something else that caused him to even kill the Egyptian. Because think about it, he was an Egyptian prince, but there was something in his heart that was just like, hey, the way these guys are being treated, there has to be something else, the identity. And it's often the case for all of us, because when we are doing what we do, there is often something that is bubbling in our spirits, whether or not we decide to listen and align. It's like a call, Tambra, Moses, isn't it? And the call is just keep, and then it was just one day. Say one day. It was one day that he decided that, look, you know what? I'm just going to come into the fullness of this expression. I don't like this. I don't like when Egyptians are beating Israelites. And he got involved. And that was it. That was him aligning with who he had always been as.
Wow. Thank you, Tombra. See, I'm going to stay with you, Tombra. So now that you have buttressed that point, I'll ask you this question. What is the common challenge, or what challenges do you think people face in accepting their identity?
Okay. The first one is, first of all, the awareness. The second one is knowing how to identify with the identity. Right? There is a way to identify, because, so for instance, you can have a British passport or Canadian passport. But if you don't have, I don't know, maybe it's expired or something like that, you know that there are rights that that passport gives you. You know, you will not have the full rights that that passport allows you, because you cannot use it to identify in that moment because it's expired. So it's often the case as human beings, like we don't understand, like, you know, as a deliverer, these are the kinds of things that I can do. If you don't understand that, what you do is you skirt. What you do is you settle. What you do is you work with the healer and not you enter into the fullness of who you have been created as a deliverer. So it is important that we do the hard work, the important work, the non-negotiable work of mining, going into ourselves to understand what are the component parts of me, what are the things that have been put on the inside of me for the world. When you understand that, then you can now say, okay, as a person who has this, and this, these are the kinds of things that I can do as a result of that. And that is where this confidence, mindset, all of that, because now when you, it's like I get back, you know, when you now know that, look, now my papa get this mansion, you're more confident, right? You're more confident, and you can step out and say, yeah, this is, I can do this, I can do that. But yeah, that's it.
That's it. And the whole work starts with that individual. They are the ones that have to put in the work, do the mining, understand who they are. So when they are faced with challenges, when they're like, who am I? Am I myself? Am I my body? Am I just Chidima Ikejako? No, there's more to you. There's a calling. And that's why I love the called woman. There is a calling that has been set from the foundation of the world, which you need to embrace.
Yes, love it.
Wow. Okay, so I'll move on to mindset. In what way can an individual embrace the identity with a positive mindset?
So, Chidima, if I got you correctly, you're saying in what way can an individual embrace their true true identity with their mindset? First of all, is to settle yourself into that irrefutable belief that you were created for something, that you are not just numerical appendage, as it were, on the earth, but that you're created for something, and that God doesn't waste resources, He doesn't waste time. I usually put it like this, that there is a seed of greatness in every man. And I feel like that seed of greatness speaks to our true identity. I actually call it the spiritual DNA. And it cannot be destroyed regardless of whatever you've been through. So if you're listening to me on this call, I am empathetic with you as to whatever your story might be. But I would not join you to agree that that story can limit you in any way. Because it's just like taking a dollar bill. No matter how much you squeeze a dollar bill, trample on it, throw it on that gutter, whatever you want to do it. All you need to do is to take that dollar bill to for Nigeria to be the CBN. No matter how, even if it was burnt, do you see? They would give you the same equivalent, and that's what Tombra is saying. Regardless of wherever you've been to, why not go back to the creator that has the original manual? Because that DNA in you is still valid. It doesn't, that DNA of greatness that speaks to your identity. So you must believe irrefutably that regardless of what you've been through, regardless of what you've been told, regardless of your experiences, that there is a seed of greatness in you that speaks to your true identity. And it is in that, you know, going back to what Tombra said and the story of Moses, right? It was still that thing, that identity was there. But because he had not honed into it through the lens of God, he was channeling that identity in the wrong way by killing the Egyptian. That was not what it was. Yes, it was that he was going on his true path, But because he had not, solidified himself into that DNA, he channeled it the wrong way. And that's why you have a lot of people also manifesting their, that I said, not true identity in the wrong way. But when he had an encounter with the person that put the identity in him, he had an epiphany moment such that he was born anew. And that's what we are saying. So first of all, you must believe that you were created for something higher than what you presently operate in or what you have been through. I feel like that's the basic. If you don't believe it, then you cannot even go on that journey. Because if you come into a meeting, a seminar, a coaching call, and I'm talking about identity, if you don't even believe, the first point is belief. Because you're not going to mind or put in the work for something that you don't believe. So if you're going to go and if you're going to like leave something, like leave here with this call, based on what Bralade has said, Tom Bra said, if you're going to manifest leadership, if you're going to do anything phenomenal and lofty, you must believe irrefutably that you have something in you that is great, that will help others excavate their own greatness, if you get what I mean. That's the first point of call. So please just believe it. Just believe it. Follow my belief. In fact, that is why it is important to be in certain meetings like this and in the summit like the Confidence Summit. Because for some of us, we didn't start with our own belief. You entered a meeting, you enter a crucible, and then because of the reactions going on in such a meeting, you borrowed, somebody was talking, and like, I don't really believe, but the energy with which the speaker is speaking, let me borrow your belief. Can I just try and go on this journey? And you borrow that belief and you go on that journey, and somewhere along the line, your own belief takes over. You don't even know when that happens. This is why it's so important that you find yourself in the summit. Something will happen to you that you did not plan to happen to you. Basically, that's how it goes.
Telling you, that's it. Something will happen to you that you didn't think will happen. Because you're coming there, your heart will catch fire. Your heart will catch. If you want to hear more from Dr. Ezinne, you need to be there. Register to be there. I posted the link, and you can also check my bio or Tambra's post, and you will see the link to register. It's going to be so good. You are being set up for greatness, and I love this. So now, we're moving on to leadership. If we continue to go on mindset and identity, oh my God, we will stay here. We can spend hours on mindset and identity, but we're moving to leadership. What is confident leadership to you?
Confident leadership to me, leadership that is expressed with confidence, is really the alignment of these three things. Is the alignment of your identity. And one of the things that Tomba didn't really mention to you is that not only is your identity a demographic, it's also a signature of God's gift to the world. So in discovering your identity, you will find out what is my purpose? How am I uniquely gifted and called to execute on this purpose? That's your mission, right? And all of those things, as you know that, as your mindset is fixed, because mindset is what helps you know that even though I'm doing this for the world, my value is not in what I do. My value is in being a child of God. My value is not in being married, for example. I already came with value, and now we're creating exponential value. Mindset is what lets you know that I'm not in this for the money. I'm not in this for the fame, because you understand? Me, myself, I'm already enough. I'm already significant to the one who counts most in the world. So by the time you are coming from this place of creativity and not competitiveness, by the time you're coming from this place of originality and authenticity and not copycatting, you cannot but be confident, because you are not trying to. I remember. Let me share this story. I remember when I was in, I used to be I used to be, I'm still very smart. But that time, just give me jam question. I used to use it to do example, like just the way people play with dolls. That's how I used to play with jam questions. So in the exam hall, apparently there was somebody from the back that was copying from me. And she was copying me. I was writing. When I'm in the zone, like in my mind, if they showed it in a video, it would be only me in the whole room, nobody else. And that's how next thing she's like, what did you write there? What did you write there? I didn't even know somebody was looking at my this thing. She bothered me till the girl next to me now said, And she wrote 0 or something like that. And she said, hey, thank God, though, because I wrote gases. Look, let me tell you what that struck me as. You even have the expo right before you. But let me tell you what a lack of confidence will do. You will do that same thing and your own will be so skewed. Your results will be so skewed because it is not you. It is not you. That long thing was just to say confidence. It is that confluence between understanding your identity, being okay, because you cannot embrace your identity without that worthiness. It's about fixing your mindset to be aligned with purity, with love, with service, with godliness, aligning your mindset to be untouchable. Because like the word says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So you will manifest. You might even be outside. You're saying the right words that someone else said. Because that's why some of us ask ourselves, how come you did like this? Me, I did like this. My own didn't work. Sometimes the difference is that intangible virtue called confidence. It is you being one with your message such that they cannot but see you as who you say you are. But when in the heart of mind, doubt is introduced, oh my gosh, even them, they don't know. I don't just like to say, I don't just know. It's just, you're just looking at, and it's not connecting. So I think for me, that is what confident leadership is. They used to say this thing about Hitler. People say, I don't know how this guy caught such a vision of himself. We know it was the opposite side of good, right? But he used to be the most timid person. And he had an encounter. And he said, as somebody said in the Bible, I can ascend and become. If people don't realize that's a vision. That's why you have to be careful about your source of inspiration, because we all get inspired. When you hear Anini, please, do any of you know Anini? I know you guys are young. Some of you are on this platform right now are young. Have you heard of Anini before? Okay, you can see the young people nodding. Okay, Anini, we cannot forget him in the annals of the country. Why? Because he decided, I'm going to be the #1 baddie. So imagine someone who determines that, you know what, I'm going to be used by God in my generation. You cannot but come out loud. You cannot but come out confident. You cannot but come out owning yourself and passing your message without fear or favor. So yeah, that for me is confident leadership, the kind of leadership that not only attracts people, but inspires them. It's called transformational leadership. Inspires them to go beyond even what the leader is saying. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And before you're able to transform people, you need to understand and believe what you have, who you are, before you're able to transform anyone. Thank you for sharing that.
Chidima, would you mind if I just, put out something just what Brother said? The way you are faced on my face, I was just like, I can listen to your whole day.
I was looking at your face and I was like,
What she said is just so powerful. And that's why I said, this thing about mindset and identity, it's so integral to everything we do. Even as powerful as motherhood is, I didn't want to say as small, because a lot of people think that that's a small assignment. No, it's not. Even as powerful as motherhood is, you don't want to do it from a place of where you're not sure about who you are. And I know that in this day, we're talking about purpose, calling, this, that, but one of the greatest disservice you can do for yourself is to pursue something so that you can be something. So we don't do what we do for identity. That's a highway to inauthenticity. That's a highway to stopping your journey halfway. We do what we do from a place of identity. So I'm not on this call so that I can attest to the fact that I'm confident. No, I came from a place of confidence. Do you understand? So you can't go to business and say, I want to do business so that I can belong. No, I already belong. That's why I'm doing the business. That's why I'm a professional. That's why I'm pursuing my career. That's why I'm doing my motherhood the way I'm doing it. And I just remembered something that happened last week. I was on a call teaching on mindset. And I sent that as an email to my emailing list. And I was just explaining on the call how I had to imbibe the growth mindset, even for this call. I had never presented on Zoom on what they call, not, sorry, I never presented PowerPoint on what Microsoft Teams, only on Zoom. So I had to call for the organizers to please give me a dry run so that it can just go smoothly. And so while on the call, I was trying to explain that I'm teaching the growth mindset, but I just applied it even for this meeting. And so I was saying on the call, like I couldn't have said, I didn't say, oh, I cannot, please, people should just use Zoom. And my son was in the lobby. What I heard was, Mommy, don't say that. We don't say we cannot. I was on a call, literally, teaching on mindset. And he just corrected me. He didn't even know I was explaining. So what am I saying? That, so, you know, from that, he's not saying it so that he didn't say that so that Mom will be happy with him. No, it's from who he was. It's from who is what I have encoded into his DNA and into his mindset. So please, this issue of identity, just like Brother was saying, you don't want to be a charlatan, right? You want to be original, you want to be real, you want to be authentic, you just want to be you. Thank you so much, Brother Day. I just thought to add that.
I love that.
Thank you, ladies.
I love when you talk about how we don't do it because of we are trying to, do our identity. We do it from our identities, because of our identity that we're doing it. This scripture in Mark 16, it's one of my best scriptures, and it talks about how these signs shall follow them that believe. That belief is already there, settled, and then the signs come after. But often we are wanting the signs, we are wanting everything, but you must understand and settle it within yourself that this is who I am. And then you insist on it. You insist on it. And as isn't it said that you act from that place of conviction. And you then, everything else, the signs will now start to follow you. The result, outcome, everything will start to follow you when you operate from a place of conviction and understanding who you are.
And so, Tom, that means people who are chasing their purpose, I want to know what my purpose is. You need to start from identity.
Oh, my God.
And then you understand your purpose from your place of identity.
Yes. Because if you think about it, we are too little to underpin who we are. Our identity is hinged on something that is much bigger than us.
Bigger than us.
So before you now start saying, okay, then what? Because if you then have you will have shallow roots, what I call shallow roots, because you are not connected to that ultimate source. As deep as the ocean bed is, that is how deep we are as people. But we unveil in chapters. We unveil in chapters as the revelation of who we are becomes apparent to us. So everything that you are seeing people are doing, there is so much more. Just say there is so much more that you can do. Whatever you think you have done now, there is so much more that you can do if you are connected to your divine source and have a deeper revelation of who you are. There is always more. Yeah, that's it.
From praise in the spirit. Is in the spirit? Okay. All right. I know it's already time. I mean, it's past 2 here, and I'm sure it's past 7. 1 minute past 7 over there, and then also past 12 on Bralade's end. But Tombra, let's end your part with you, and then I'll go round. What advice would you give individuals that may be struggling to accept their identities or struggling to discover or find their identities?
Come to the summit. Come to the summit. That's what we are not joking with you. We are not if we are speaking and it is making the baby on the inside of you leap, it means that there is something for you there. So register now. I've put the details on the listing, the Exponential Confidence Summit. The link is going to be in Chidima's bio. So click on her name, go get that link so that you can register and come and hear more of this. Because once light hits you, darkness will start to dissipate. And darkness is the lack of knowledge, confusion. I don't really, we're tired of that. We're tired of you going around the same mountain, round. I'm not really sure. It's not cute. It's time to get serious about this thing. That's it.
Thank you.
The number just say it's not cute.
It's not cute. Okay, Isn't your final words? Because can you please share your final words, your words of advice for people on how to build a growth mindset? Let's end it that way.
Okay, so I wouldn't want to say a lot, but there is something called, in my mastermind, we're just studying something called, the quantum leap effect, right? And if you are a science student, I'm sure you're familiar with things like catalyst, putting in a crucible, and you just watch how the entire experiment just go 10x just because you introduced something. So if you want your life to experience that radical shift, you must take responsibility for placing yourself in what I call catalytic communities or in catalytic experiences. And this confidence summit is that crucible where you want to put yourself, and you just don't want to put yourself. You want to bring people that you're going to be engaging with for the next course of the decade or the year or the next 2 years. You want to also bring them there so that you can all grow together, so that you can also be catalyzed together. There's something, so when you say mind, when Brother started talking, after I spoke, Brother said, whatever is set can be unset. But I have never seen any edifice that they wanted to bring down, that they brought down in one day. I really have. It will come down. It will definitely come down. I'm not saying it will not come down, but it's not brought down in one day. And it's not brought down with one kind of equipment. You bring bulldozers. Sometimes they'll bring cats. Cat is not working. They go and look for Mark. They just keep bringing different things. So I want you to bring yourself into the bulldozer called the Confidence Summit. Something will shift. And it will not just shift, will propel you into a higher dimension of yourself. You would experience a shift in your mind, in your identity, in your belief systems. You will just come out confident. And you need it for this time you're living in. You definitely need it. We want to remain cute, in Tonra's words. Cute and dangerous.
Cute and dangerous. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Cute but
Come and get
dangerous.
bulldozed into your greatness. Wow.
I'm having to step out here shortly, but I just want to say today, as you are hearing the voice, they call it of the Lord, right? But the truth is that something here, you heard something that connected with your truest self. This is why sometimes you're like, why did that move me? Because it connected with your deeper self, the self that Tombra helps you try to uncover and unearth. And then it said, harden not your heart. That means allow your mind to be influenced. You have to give permission to yourself to be like, I'm worth attending this conference. I'm worth attending this summit. My mission, my identity is worth me investing in confidence so that I can show up as the person God created me to be and be that leader that can then give the world what God deposited within you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just show up. I'm short of words. You will be bulldozed into your greatness. You will understand your identity, and you will have your mindset turned around. It may not be done in a day, but just come and take the seed and let it get planted in your heart and see it grow and blossom. Right. Thank you so much, Tombra. Thank you, Dr. E. Brother is gone, but thank you so much, ladies. It was great speaking with you, and I know we'll do this sometime. So we'll see. The summit is in 9 days' time. See you, ladies. Right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Bye. Okay, Tombra, you end it on your end.